First day off grid here, enjoying the sun. We've had a good week of about 20 degrees down here near Eden, and usually it's about, this time of the year, it's probably about 14 degrees. I was going to go sailing today, but the boat's all packed up over there for the season. But I mean, that doesn't take much, it's just a tarp. But I got up too late, and I need to drive an hour to get to the sailing club, and I just didn't give myself time. I think to go sailing I need to get up at about 6 o'clock in the morning and just relax into the morning and then go, because I get anxiety. So as well, the forecast showing that at 3 o'clock this afternoon it's going to be 11 kilometers an hour, which is, I think, 2 knots. It's not much, but 11, no, that can't be right. 11 kilometers is not too bad for me, because I've got to learn how to sail not only in strong winds but in light winds. Anyway, so I'm back onto this yard. So what I'm doing here is I've started to clean out. I had all that rubbish over there, which I've just put in a pile over there for the moment, but all this wood, I've just got to I'm thinking about burning it. I've got to check out what the rules are on fires, whether I need to get a permit. I think I do. And the guy that just lives across the road from that runs the Rural Forest Service, so I'll just go over and talk to him and see what I've got to do. Now, so I've just been pulling all the plants out that were here with the ride-on and this stump puller. So there was a couple of plants that I couldn't pull out by hand, so that's just pulled them out. I've pulled all that lantana out and all the little, any ones that I could find that were going off down the track there somewhere. So I've pulled that out, but I've got to, I need to move it somewhere and put it in a pile wherever my fire is going to be. Now I've just got to keep cleaning here, move all this stuff. That's windows for the shed that are under there. This stuff should have been covered and it's not covered. I've got to cover that today. I've got tarpaulins on the way to cover everything else, because I think it's going to be a year before I get that shed up. I think that's what it's going to be. So I've got some, they were supposed to be here, and I thought they were in the shed, and I opened up the package and it wasn't them, it was the other 2 tarpaulins, which I'll talk about in a minute. But I got 4 12 metre by 6 metre tarpaulins to cover all this stuff up, and it cost me, for 4, it cost me about $500. And I thought, I opened up the package and it wasn't there, so I went and checked emails, and I sent an email and I said, where are my tarps? And they said, oh, they should have been there already. Like, okay, well, they're not. Have you sent them? Email back, no, we haven't sent them yet. And she said, that's a really long time to be waiting. I'm like, okay. She said, we've talked to our supplier and we're not sure why they weren't sent out. Okay. And she said, we've issued you a refund. Why are you issuing me a refund? I want the bloody tarps. So I sent an email back and said, look, I don't want a refund. I want the tarps. I don't care. I've already waited this time, but I need the tarps. So send the tarps out. And she's got back and said, we've issued you a refund for the tarps. Are you reading my fucking emails? Excuse my French, but people don't read stuff. They just write. I had it yesterday all day, I think. Lady at the Mitre 10 just wasn't listening to me, what I was saying to her, right? And then at the end, before the bloody receipts come out, she just started talking to the lady next to her, and then she's just reached over, off to the side, not even looking, pulled the receipt out and pushed it in front of my face for me to grab while she was still talking to the lady. I'm like, that's great service. And then I was at, it's just happened all day. I'm not going to go through a whinge, but there was another lady just not listening. It's like, hello, I'm talking. You need to listen to what I'm saying. And then you talk. And then when I'm talking, you listen, and then you talk. And what you do is that when you reply, you take into account what I've said. Yeah, but they don't do that. All right, so the other two tarps, which these tarps are super heavy duty, and there's two tarps. They're not as big as the other tarps. They're 6 meters by 7 meters, and they're about $250 each, but they're super heavy duty, right? So they're going to be up and staying up. So what I want to do is, along the container's 12 meters, so 2 tarps, I'll probably overlap them in the middle so that they'll end up only being 10 meters, and there'll be a meter either side. But I'm going to have 2 tarps, a tarp coming out here, or it'll come out at an angle down there because my tent poles aren't as tall as the container. A tarp, and then a tarp overlapping the tarp by about a meter, and also the tarp, it'll go back over the container by about a meter. That way no water will go down the back, and by overlapping it in the middle, there should be no water. Well, there will be. I will seal the middle section, and then what this area here will become is in the middle, so it doesn't get wet. It doesn't matter anyway, but well, it does matter. But this is going to have my gym in it. I'm on a bit of a fitness kick. I've lost about 10 kilos. I've been doing sit-ups and push-ups, and so turn this back around. Yeah, so I'm going to have my gym under there. I've got the gym all packed away in the container, and also my drum kit. So what I'll do, the gym, if it gets wet, not too worried about that, but the drum kit, I'll put it right in the middle so that it's got maximum coverage in all directions. But also I'll just put, when I'm not using it, I'll put another tarp over the drum kit, just in case we get, you know, really torrential rain at a really strong wind, and the wind's coming in to hit the drum kit, which I don't want. So that's the plan for today, to clean that out. Now I will get back to this wood mill. At the moment, when I've put it together, I haven't aligned it properly. I thought I did, but I didn't. So at the moment, this needs to come out further here, so I've got to loosen it up and get it off because it's not on its wheel. And I know there's people can't wait to see logs getting cut or whatever, but at the moment it's not a priority, and I can start cutting logs, but the thing is I've got nowhere to put the wood anyway, and once you cut it, you really need to get it out of the weather. So for the moment, I'll get it all up and working. Not yet. It's not going to be something. Yeah, it's not going to happen soon. I can tell you that much. I've got other stuff to do. There's a whole lot of old sailing gear there. Some that I still need, some that I don't. I might put some of that stuff on Gumtree. Could be some old Murray cats that will be interested in that stuff. All right, so it's just a massive big cleanup at the moment. I'm going to move everything out of the way, and then I'm going to mow it on the lowest setting I can, and then I'm going to spray it with weed killer so that it doesn't come back. It shouldn't come back too much under the tarp anyway. I'm saying that, but it probably will. Who knows? Does it need sunlight? I don't know. It probably gets sunlight at some point, so it'll grow. All right, that's that. So I'm hoping to get this all cleaned up today, because it's just terrible to look at, and I really want to get the gym, and I really want to get the drum kit. So let's get to it. So another big pile of, I'm piling everything up in little spots where there's no grass, so there's just dirt here, right? So eventually it's moving it, handling it twice, but I'm just getting it off the grass, and then I've just got to work out where everything goes. But in this box here, there is, if you can see in there, there's tent posts. Hopefully they're strong enough. I remember in the old days we had a tarp going camping, or in a place that we used to always stay, like a friend's property actually, but tarps were held up by branches, big thick branches, from in the bush. Just go and find some branches and use them as tarps. So if these ones aren't strong enough, I'll do the same. All right, well, I've cleaned out, moved the insulation from over here. So I've got a nice dirt pad there. And I've got this big tarp that I already had, was to cover my other boat. So all of this, it's a bit wet, but it's not too, it's probably looks worse than it is. Yeah, no problem there. I don't have a problem with that. It got a little bit wet. Should have been covered ages ago, but anyway, that's the way life goes. All right, put this cover on. All right, well, it's not actually big enough to get, I'm on the ground there. I can pull that this side a little bit, get this one down a bit more. And it's kind of, so it'll be covered on both sides, front and back. This is still a little bit exposed, but that's better than what I had. And it's just keeping the rain off this side as well, so that'll have to do for the moment. I mean, I've got to tie it down, but that's going to be later on today because I want to keep moving the rest of this over here. So I really need the bigger tarps, but we haven't got them at the moment, so we'll use what we can use, hey? All right, we're going to continue on. Okay, so I've doing a little bit more cleanup here. So I've partially mowed this now. Now I'm going to move these those windows there. I'll probably put against this here. Now I've measured up to get some big tarps for everything, so there'll be a big tarp over the whole lot of that, there'll be a tarp over this one, and a big tarp over the whole lot of this one, or maybe two tarps on that, I'm not sure. So now I'll just move that to here, and then clean up all that rubbish there so I can mow that. There's all rubbish amongst everything there. This seems like the area where rubbish just collects for some reason. Maybe it's the everything I've thrown out of the shed, out of the container, that's what it is. I'm a lazy bastard, so that's why there's so much rubbish there, because I throw everything out, I mean just out of the door. All right, get to it. All right, so the only bit I had covered is actually the worst, because I've put these windows up against the container. They're still in their cardboard boxes, and I put a tarp over the top, but water's gone into the tarp. It was only a pretty cheap tarp, and it's just falling apart. So that's what you get when you buy cheap tarps. So if you look at the cardboard, it's wet, and people have been eating it, cockroaches eating it, there's spiders in there, there's lizards in there. So doesn't look too good, but they're windows, they're aluminium framed, and then there's glass, so all they need is a sandblast gurney. I just gurney them off and they'll be fine. And I would have been better off taking them out of the boxes and then covering them, but still, having said that, either way, that tarp was useless, wasn't it? These silver tarps I've got are UV resistant, so they should be great, should be fine. And the ones that I'm getting are UV resistant as well. And 180 grams per square meter, which is what I decided was about, price wise, was all right. You can go up to a lot more than that. Probably, I think they have 320 grams per square meter. These here, they're probably like 50 grams per square meter or something like that. Very thin. All right, continue on, Christ, continue on. So there was a thriving ecosystem here amongst those windows. There was spiders, there was worms, cockroaches, lizards, other things that I don't even know what they are. So there's even some grass growing underneath it still. How that happened, I don't know. what I might do is find a little area over near the caravan, over the back there somewhere, and lay some cardboard down and wet it, and then put some sheets of plywood over the top of it, and waterproof ply, or a tarp I guess, but sheets of ply is probably easier. I've got a couple of sheets of them, and then every now and then, see this little fella's, he's a black huntsman. What's a black huntsman? Oh, there's little worms there, and crickets. Yeah, so cover it up, leave it there for a couple of months, and just every now and then lift the top off it and let the chickens get in there. So they'd love it. All right, back to work. All right, well, it's getting a bit cleaner now. Still got this pile to chuck in the back of the ute, but I've mowed all that down nice and low, and it'll get sprayed as well. And we've got a whole lot of stuff in the back of the ute. It'd be nice to use my second-hand brand new trailer, but I'm trying to get my money back from the guy because it's not brand new. He's just spray painted it, and he's put some new fittings and things on it on the door, and the welds just come off. And I started looking at it, and all the welds, he's welded things, and it's just spatter. It's crap. I'm not a welder, not a boilermaker. I can weld when I need to, as long as I practice for a little bit, and then I usually just try and weld some things together and practice, and then if I've got to make a bracket for something on the job, I'll weld, and then I'll just grind it and paint it, and I can make it come up nice. This is not that. This is I learnt to weld when I was an apprentice as part of multi-training, so that's where I'm trying to remember from there, and it's only that I weld maybe every 10 years or something. With this guy, it's pathetic, and so I'm trying to get the money back. He said to me, "Oh, I'm not the type of guy that gives refunds or takes returns." And I said, "Well, consumer laws, Australian consumer laws, you're the type of bloke that has to follow that because you have to." He says, "I'm just building trailers out of my shed." It doesn't matter, mate, where you're building them. You're selling them. You have to follow consumer laws. All right, that's that rant. I'm going to continue on with this and get all this rubbish in the back of the ute, and then yeah, we'll go from there. All right, so I've cleaned up that rubbish over here now. If I can get out of the sun. Oh, that's the tractor. So this is all cleaned up now, nicely. Back of the truck's full. Have to go to the tip on Monday. All right, I think I'm going to leave this video here and as part one. And I think that was a good day's work for me, actually. I'm really happy with my new medication, or my old medication, back on my old medication. I really hate stuff like this, cleaning up rubbish. It's me that's causing it. I'm throwing rubbish out of the container just on the ground, then the grass grows over it, you know, and I can't just mow it, so it just starts looking shit because you can't mow it. It's already looking great, I reckon, and tomorrow, it might be Monday now, I've got things to do tomorrow. Doesn't matter, the video when it comes out for you is when it comes out for you, but I will put the canopies up and go from there. I think I used that already today. Go from there, we'll go from there. I'm Stayer Off Grid, see us later.